Hi. So when I was about 22, I went up to Alaska and I was working in the canneries for a summer. I ended up staying, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. And and I went with a couple of friends and they ended up hooking up, and so they got into their own tent and we all lived in Tent City and I had my own tent. And, it was amazing up in Alaska. But I met a guy, and it was cold. And coming from the desert, even the summer weather up there was pretty cold. And I met a guy who lived up there year round, and he had a cabin, a really beautiful little cabin. And most importantly, he had a little sweat lodge. And so that was amazing. We got to go be in his wet sauna and stuff, and I ended up hooking up with him a little bit because we were young and doing our dating phases and whatnot, experimental. And so I enjoyed his hospitality, and he showed me around town a little bit. He was really sweet, and he was really fun, and we had like a really nice vibe. And, I think we would have dated quite a while, maybe even, because I really liked him. And he was so thoughtful and everything, and I was kind of into him. And he had these really amazing green eyes. Anyway, so then I went to work the next day. Well, not the next day, but I so I'm having a hard time staying present because I'm trying to tell you something traumatic, and it's hard for me to stay present to tell you about it. Because as soon as I think about things, I really disassociate and I lose my train of thought, and people think I'm just forgetful, but I've really been through quite a bit. So anyway, I it's a trauma response. So I have cptsd. I really don't have ADHD. So anyway, I'm trying to tell you about what happened that a night that I was during that summer that I was working at this cannery, and there was a lot of men, mostly men, in the tent city. And one of the men, I was sound asleep, and he came into the tent and just unzipped my bag, and like in 30 seconds was like graping me. And and then he just left, and I was shocked and stunned and obviously couldn't sleep very well. But I was in Tent City at the cannery and by myself, kind of. And the next day I went to work, but I couldn't really function, and I got fired. And I was kind of waiting in the spot for the nice guy. And when he came over, we had agreed to meet by these in this parking lot. And when he came over, I would just really wanted a hug, and I wanted to tell him what happened, but he wouldn't let me hug him. And he pushed me away, and he said the other guy's name. I don't even remember his name, but he said, Scott. I mean, it took a bit to get it out of him, but he was like, Scott told me that, you slept with him. And I was just once again in shock, and, like, just didn't know what to say. I really fawned quite a bit. And I didn't know what to say at all. And he said he didn't want to see me again, and he was disgusted by me. And he was like, it went around the whole camp and everybody laughed at me. So I was fired, and so I just I just packed up. I got my tent, and I kind of went into the forest, and I found a different job, and I ended up backpacking, and in that same town, I got followed. I got followed. I had to sleep with a knife under my pillow. So anyway, I just am going to start telling you guys stories. Be well, find something to love. And you know what? Also, I wanted to invite anybody who wanted to write and tell me any stories. I would tell them and keep your identity a secret. Because this is like a really big deal for me today. You know, like this is something that's like, I'm like, how is this going to affect my kids? You know, if I talk about these things, am I going to be labeled? Because I'm already labeled the loud, obnoxious woman, blah, blah, blah. I got a lot of negative labels, I think. But I decided that becoming 100% unashamed is my goal. Like a little tattoo across my head. Unashamed. Go find something to love.